Hello and welcome back to another video. Today we're talking about youth academies and developing youth, something that I know a lot of people, myself included, really enjoy about career mode. So I'm going to give you 5 tips. This is mainly aimed at beginners, but I'm sure there's something that everyone can learn throughout this video, and hopefully you'll enjoy and know a little bit more about how youth academy works and how to have fun using it. So we're going to be starting off with the first one, and a little tip here is to loan out your players if you're not planning on using them. If you're not going to play them, you'll get 0 games in them, for example. EA will think that they're really bad and they'll actually lose potential every single season. Of course, this is actually really bad, so you should be avoiding potential drops whenever you can if you want to have a really good youth academy. So loaning out your players is absolutely a must. So the big thing about loaning out players is that if they play 0 games, so for example, if you're in the Premier League and you loan out a player to the Bundesliga, if you recall that player, then they'll actually lose potential at the end of the season. So loans can be really good to help improve potential, but you have to make sure you're not recalling them, otherwise you'll actually lose it. So the second tip that I've got is game time. Of course, playing youngsters is really important, but you can play a youngster every single match of the season. If they're playing really badly, then they might get an average overall of something like 5.8, and again, they'll lose potential. If you're playing the youngsters, you need to make sure you're playing them in games where they can actually perform well, because game time is important, but high ratings in that game time is even more important. You need the high ratings to increase the stats, which will increase the potential and make the player improve faster and faster. It's kind of a snowball, because you'll have a better player who can play better in the matches, get the higher ratings, and then in turn get better potential. So it is really important that you are only playing your players in matches where they can get goals, assists, clean sheets, no matter what position they're in. Make sure you're playing them against weaker teams, or cup matches are really good as well, and then you'll get potential boosts at the end of every season. My third tip that I've picked up over the years is similar and related to both of the last two. If they've got high morale, then the players are going to train harder. If they're training harder, they improve more. They get more game time, which they'll get higher ratings in. It snowballs and snowballs, but morale is the base and the most important part of your whole youth player. Make sure they've got a contract that they're happy with. Make sure you're playing them as much as you can with high ratings, and try and keep all 4 of their little morale faces green at all times if you want this player to get really good. Personally, I try and keep 3 of the 4 green at all times. Usually this is the player performance, team performance, and contract ones, with playtime being a little bit more of a struggle. But if you can manage to get all 4 of these green, then your player is going to improve super quickly. And honestly, that's what we all want from all of our good youth academy players. A fourth little tip that a lot of people will know, but maybe 1 or 2 of you out there won't know, is that you do have little statuses on the players. You might see the status say something like an exciting prospect, but if you want someone who's going to get really good, the one you really need is potential to be special. So this means they've got a potential between 91 and 94. So if you've got a bunch of players who have potential to be special, these are the ones that you need to focus on. Make sure they're the ones that get in the game time, make sure they're the ones with the good contracts, and make sure that they're playing really well in the matches, and then their overall ratings will absolutely rocket throughout the season. I've seen players with have potential to be special go up to 10 overall in a single season, which of course is a massive increase. This can happen if you've got potential to be special in League 1. For example, you might have them 64 rated, potential to be special, and then by the end of the season they're 74, which is good enough for the Premier League almost. So 10 points is probably about the maximum increase you can expect, but this kind of thing is absolutely insane at any level. Premier League teams plus 10, you're probably going from 80 to 90, because potential doesn't actually scale, so the same increase can happen from 60 to 70 as it does 80 to 90. So really, you could get an insane player if you are making sure your potential to be special players are treated really well at your club. And the final thing you need to do is make sure that your players who have potential and you want to increase are always in your training schedules. By default, this training schedules works by having the team that you've last played or the team that's selected on the squad screen. So make sure you've got your young players, maybe have a second team sheet with all the ones you want to develop on, and make sure that they're constantly training. It'll keep their sharpness up, which will make them more effective in matches. It'll make them improve faster just because their actual attributes will improve faster, which again, in turn, gives them better game time and gives them higher ratings. It's all linked, everything in this video. So make sure they're in the training thing, they'll perform better in matches, they'll increase faster as well, and then eventually you'll get these players who can be absolutely insane on FIFA. Hopefully you've learned something from at least one of my little tips that I thought I'd suggest. I know they're more aimed at beginners than seasoned pros because a lot of people will know all of these tips already. But if you were unsure on anything I've said, I've written it all out in the description below, so check that out quickly if you want to learn a little bit more. I'll try and put some links into some sources as well if you want to learn a bit more and read more on the subject. But hopefully you've enjoyed this video. Subscribe if you want to see more videos like this. Give it a like if you enjoyed any of my tips. And hopefully I'll see you very soon for another video. Thank you and goodbye.